Welcome to Book Thoughts, brand lifestyle podcast. We are Thoughts for Books, and these are our thoughts on books. I'm Adriana.
I'm Emily.
And I'm Jenna.
Three sisters stripping down one book at a time. Today we will be discussing our final thoughts on ACOTAR since we wrapped up our strip down of all 46 chapters last week.
Before we jump in, we do have a content warning. Today's podcast is rated mature. We are Book Thoughts after all, so we are going to be using adult language, talking about adult topics. So please pay attention to who may be listening near you. Additionally, this episode will include spoilers for all 5 books. Each episode will focus on specific chapters, but our conversation will include the entire series. Lastly, I'm just going to apologize. Emily and I are definitely going to mispronounce some things. Adriana hopefully will keep us in check.
Just a reminder for those listening what a Final Thoughts episode consists of. It consists of basically no structure. We really just do what our final thoughts are on the book. Sometimes we do a final thoughts for a series. Sometimes it's a single standalone book. It's kind of all over the board. Our favorite moments, favorite lines, theories we might have. And today might be a little more crazy than usual because I have some fun questions to jump into. And I'm sure that we'll have people that will come for us because the first question is, did your opinion change on anyone? And I kind of want to go first just because I saw a TikTok about the fact that Lucian was willing to die to not give up Feyre's name. And I never thought about it that way because I only thought about it as Feyre was willing to give up her name for Lucian, not that Lucian was willing to be tortured or die just so that Amarantha wouldn't know her name. There are several moments, but specifically seeing that TikTok and looking at it from a different perspective, I'm like, okay, Lucian, like, you may not be my favorite character, but I do appreciate you a little bit more.
But doesn't it say he looks at Tamlin and Tamlin gives like the slightest little like inclination, like don't open your mouth, and then he keeps his mouth shut. So is it really for Feyre or is it for Tamlin?
It doesn't matter who it's for. Either way, he was gonna do it, Jenna.
I mean, that's true. It's true.
I guess that's a good point. But at the same time, I just keep thinking of when it's her second trial and all she wants is basically for her to pull the right lever for Lucian's sake because he's screaming in the background.
Just pull up.
He is a little dramatic.
Pull the lever. Pull the lever, Kronk. Like I said earlier, there's no structure to this, so I'm just going to jump into something that I had for later. I also saw a TikTok where it talks about the fact that Tamlin can shapeshift. And so this person's theory was that Tamlin shapeshifted into Lucian. And so Lucian was the one that was brought to the Night Court. And that's why the bond feels off. Because, it always talks about how their mating bond just feels wrong and feels off. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if I believe this, but I do believe it could be a possibility. Like, I don't know if all the facts are there for that to even make sense, but I found that it was a kind of fun theory to look at and think about.
Wait, maybe I misheard you.
The theory is that Tamlin shapeshifts into Lucian. So it's actually, when it's talking about Lucian participating, it's actually Tamlin.
In the mating bond, like when they go to the Night Court. So that's why it feels like the mating bond is off because it's not really Lucian. And then at the end of the series, when Tamlin's off roaming in the forest and Lucian, I think it ends with him like going to the mortal realm or something like that. They're saying like Lucian is actually pretending to be Tamlin and because he allowed him to shapeshift into Tamlin, and Tamlin is pretending to be Lucian.
So you're talking about the mating bond between Lucian and Elaine.
Yes.
So the mating bond is actually between Tamlin and Elaine?
I don't know if it's between Tamlin and Elaine or what they're inferring there, but they're just saying the reason why everything feels off is because that is Tamlin. It's not really Lucian. So who knows? Maybe they're inferring that there is a mating bond between Lucian and Elaine, and it feels off because Tamlin is pretending to be Lucian. Or maybe they are inferring that because Tamlin is hiding behind Lucian, that's why it feels off.
Well, and I was wondering if you were talking in regards at first, what I misunderstood was that when Tamlin is like in his depression era and I think he's gone for this or just refuses to participate. I can't remember the exact details, but like Lucian, I thought is the one who stepped in for the spring court.
The calamari.
Yes, calamari.
Calamari. It is calamari, but it's fun to say calamari. I don't know when this person's theory, like where they're like that. I think that Tamlin is pretending to be Lucian starting at this point, or etc. I just saw like literally a glimpse of it because this person must be like, I don't know, just they probably have more things to lead up to why they came to this theory. I just read the first blurb. I didn't dive deep into it.
But that's an interesting one.
I'm really excited to see if we can pick up on any hints of that happening during our reread.
Yeah.
Because Sarah doesn't just do things out of the blue usually in her worlds that she's written. Usually there's little clues that you can like, oh, if I would have known this, I would have been able to connect the dots. So if we don't pick up on anything, I wouldn't think that that's going to be true.
And I love when she even points out, she's like, wow, guys, you thought of something like I maybe wasn't thinking of, but I like it.
We talked about that with Pin Cole, and she said there were definitely things that people say that she never took anyone's idea, but she's like, dang, that was a really good idea. My other opinion that changed on someone, and I'm sorry, Tamlin lovers, it just is what it is. I think Tamlin just has a lot of red flags from the get-go that I did not notice my first reread. So I guess my opinion changed on him in both ways. One, I noticed the red flags more, but two, I think going to be maybe like a little more graceful for the entire series because I paid more attention to like his history and the things that he was struggling with, but it also did the red flags were raised a lot quicker.
I'm going to say my Tamlin opinion definitely changed because the first read, you know, you're picturing yourself as Feyre. You're picturing yourself as the main character. So everything is so personal that happens to Feyre. And I was so glad when he got his shit kicked in and she like destroyed him. But the reread is kind of more relaxed and I can see different perspectives and I can see that I'm never, ever gonna agree that Tamlin and Feyre should be together. I can't get behind that train. I don't know how you guys have boarded, but I don't want a ticket. I do think that after the first time I read it, I was like, Tamlin gets a redemption, I'm out. Like, that's gonna piss me off so much. And now I'm like, well, he kind of deserves something. Like, he's had a lot of shit. And you know who deserves something is Lucian. I've not seen anything positive happen for this guy.
It's hard for me because like I'm trying to remember my second read a little bit to kind of be able to answer that specific question. But I think, Jenna, you bring up a good point. You honestly kind of despise Lucian as soon as you meet him because you're still so unsure. You don't know why he's treating her this way. He's kind of a prick, but like at the same time, he ends up becoming a close ally and somewhat of a trusted friend to her. Maybe not as like found family as what the Night Court becomes to her and those friends, but at the same time, like you can give him another chance rereading it. For Tamlin, it's just such an eye-opening moment for people going back and rereading it after you've completed book 2, after you've even completed through book 3, I feel like, if you do a reread, because you do pick up on those red flags, you do notice a lot of things, but it doesn't change your sympathy necessarily. It kind of sometimes will make you more angry, but I mean, we all fall victim for it. And the people I think that do try to stick up for Tamlin or to give him another chance, it's not that I don't hear you. It's just that I think through Feyre's lenses and seeing the difference between a true love and a mated bond of somebody actually reaching out and trying to care for you when you are destroying yourself versus allowing it to happen and just hoping you unravel and figure it out. To me, it didn't change this round. I do pick up on a little things here and there each read, but I don't feel like it's Tamlin that I change my opinion drastically on, if that makes sense.
That makes total sense. Like, my opinion isn't drastically changing for sure, but it's both, like I said, both negative and positive. And I will say, my next question is about favorite moment. When I first read this, one of my favorite moments is when he comes back from the fire night and there's that like first like even though he's in almost his beast form, it's the first time where it's like they're both really admitting in the moment that they have feelings towards each other because he's in this primal state and he can't get Feyre out of his mind, and she's kind of like, can I fall in love with the beast that has captured me? So when I first read that, I really liked that moment. And in this read, I enjoyed the vulnerability of Rhysand in the cave, or the dungeon cave, same difference. I enjoyed his vulnerability in that moment because Feyre knows literally nothing about this guy, and he's willing to just be his true self and kind of complain to her, and I just enjoyed it.
I loved watching, well, not watching because it's reading, but I don't know. I play it in my head. Feyre's fight with the worm, just getting to see that, and then her chunking the bone at Amarantha, that is still
Yes.
like the biggest fuck you, I'm gonna do this in your face kind of moment, and I live for that. Makes me so happy.
That is such a cool moment for her, especially because then Reese, like, even later on is like, do not let her see you cry. You've been putting up this fight. Keep it up. I love that. Mine's going to go back to Reese again because I cannot handle the moment when it's Calamine, whatever you call the night. And she feels that tug in that pool and she meets him. And that whole scene will always get me, as well as when he sends her the music, because I was just rereading that last night. It's not even the worst breaking point that she's going through at that moment because she's had several leading up to it and he's always just kind of watching, always listening, trying to soothe her in any way he possibly kind of can. But at the same time, he doesn't want her fight to give out and he keeps like trying to remind her of that. But I truly loved the music scene because she visualizes so much, and I don't know if through what he has tattooed on her, through a bond, through the like the mating bond or anything, if what she's visualizing, like what we kind of don't know of, like an underlying possible power for her, can she truly see everything? Because I mean, they'd even describe the place where they live, where they have to fly up to his like house.
House of Wind.
House of Wind.
House of Wind.
Thank
House of
you.
Wind.
Thank you. Like she describes it so beautifully, and she's breaking in that moment, and then it's like the moment ends for me when she's like, oh, this could be me and Tamlin. This could be just, this is what I'm fighting for. And then the music just kind of fades out. He reminds you of it, but at the same time, just wait, girl. Just wait.
Yeah, girl, you don't even know what you have coming for you.
I guess I also enjoyed getting to watch, oh my gosh, I keep saying that, reading Feyre enjoying just true happiness for the first time probably in her life. That was
Sarah
cool
has
too.
a way, Jenna, of writing that I feel like you do visualize it so much. Even it doesn't matter how many times you've seen it, read it, whatever. I think that's why adaptation wise would be so hard for us because we all visualize probably something different for every reader.
The interview we just did with Melody, the bookstore owner, how she said, usually people tell you to read the book and then see the movie, and she's the opposite. You should see the movie and then read the book because the book is just going to be so much more rich and just like, I don't know, better than the movie. So go to the movie. Don't have your expectations set so high. So yeah, anything that comes out that's adaptation wise, I think is going to be rough.
I have a question for you guys. When you're reading, do you ever notice that you're kind of not like mouthing the words, but you can feel your tongue slightly moving to the words?
Like if you're enunciating it, but without opening
Yeah.
your mouth.
Yeah, without opening, like you can just barely feel your tongue move because you're like reading it, but like almost saying the words, but not really. Like for a second, you can feel it.
I don't do it every read, but I have caught myself doing it in scenes.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like a majority of the time it's more like my eyes will go faster than my brain is still processing. And I'm almost spoiling ahead because my brain is just
Yes.
like, wait, what?
I get too excited and then I'm like reading the next paragraph. I'm like, I didn't finish. I didn't finish the previous one.
I think that's a canon event. I think everybody has done that, especially when you're in a scene that's building up to something. You just like want to get through it so quickly. And the tongue thing, I wouldn't say I do all the time. It's just every once in a while I can notice like my tongue almost twitching, and it's because I'm like the words are on the edge of my tongue basically. my least favorite moment is for sure Tamlin not fighting for Feyre. And I know that that's illogical because he is trying to save her, but I can't help
To
that it's
some
how
degree.
I can't help that it's how I feel. That I would just, I
Yeah.
guess I want a man that is illogical and would just ruin everything and get us both killed, but at least he's fighting for me.
In a weird way, it's almost why I respect Nesta from shit down here when you first introduce her personality to like the levels that come after seeing all this, because her sister would fight for her. Her sister came after her. Her sister would not allow some quote unquote queen of this land to just toy with her. You're telling me the love of your life is just going to sit there stone faced, like, I'm not going to show any emotion? I don't care if your excuse is because you don't want her to hurt you anymore or to hurt me anymore. The problem is that might be my last moment that I get to look at you, and vice versa. So tell me through your eyes that you love me and that to keep fighting. Show me some type of way that like this is worth it.
And the fact that she was, safe.
Yeah.
And left and went to him to fight for him. And then,
Yeah.
but also, I love that you said the respect for Nesta is gained so much, because I went in the first read and I didn't like either sister at all.
Mhm.
And so rereading, I guess my opinion did change on Nesta as well. Reading the books the first time and then again in the reread, I saw more of how much she comes through for Feyre.
Yeah.
Even though she was sitting there not chopping wood,
Right.
and I will always not understand that, but she did go and try and get her, and she fought the glamour so that she would know and be present for what was going on.
You read those same moments, the same with Tamlin, the same with Nesta, and you're supposed to have those feelings. You know what I mean? It's not really until you have gone through majority of the books and done your reread that you pick up on a little bit here and there that Sarah was trying to like kind of lay the groundwork of. Maybe she didn't even have it in her mind quite yet, but at the same time, it was perfectly done because for me with Nesta, even if she was quote unquote being lazy, let's just say, she needed her father to wake up. She needed the actual caregiver to give a damn, to fight for the children that was left behind, even though now they're adults and they're still taking care of him. So like in that sense, like, yeah, her bitterness is just bitter. But at the end of the day, it's that hate that fueled her. That was like, no, I'm sad that Feyre had to do it, but at the same time, it wasn't going to be me.
Yeah, that defiance that's so strong in her that she can't let go of. I will say my opinion will never change on the dad. He is
No.
number one on my shit list forever.
I know.
I'm sorry.
When I think we've talked about it in maybe a different series or something, but I remember even Emily was bringing up at one point, like, not the redemption of a father, but like when they finally kind of want to come around and try and make up for their mistakes, but also acknowledge their mistakes and apologize for that or just do better. It was hard for me with this one because it was just too late. Even no matter, like, maybe that's what we'll get in the next book is like glimpses of when he left timeline wise, and see like all that he did for them. But would that hurt me more, or would that just be like, it's just too late? Like, why now did you finally wake up?
My issue with him is that he never outright asks for forgiveness. And I understand him bringing the ships to help fight the battle is his way of being like, I am so sorry for those years. And that's how it's
Yeah.
inferred. And I think that's how every reader infers it. And I think that's how Sarah intended it. But I'm still like, you need to ask for forgiveness. I think
Yeah.
that asking for forgiveness is something that people don't do a lot because it's acknowledging the hurt that you've given to someone or the hurt you've created and saying, I am so sorry, will you forgive me? Because then that opens the door for people to be like, I can forgive you, but maybe here's what I need from you. Or I can forgive you, or right now I can't forgive you, but you at least put the ball in their court to express their feelings and how they're feeling. So yeah, the dad can.
I would argue that I would be able to accept Nesta crying for him when he died if he said, I'm sorry, I know that I dropped the ball and I know I left the slack there for you and your sister to pick up, and I was just whittling away, and I couldn't come out of my own mind and my own depression to help you guys, and I'm sorry. If he would have said those words, I would argue that I could say, thanks for getting the ships, and I will cry for your death.
Thanks for the ships and peace out. Let's shift to something that maybe is a little bit more fun to think about other than the father, because that gets us riled up real quick. Let's say that when Farah went under the mountain, she was allowed to bring one guest. I think that she would have brought Nesta, maybe, because she does know Nesta has that fight in her. But the real question is, if you were in Farah's place and you were allowed to bring a guest to sit in that dungeon with you, to try to fight the big old worm, who are you bringing with you?
I need athleticism. I need cunning.
I know, because my first response is like, obviously I'm bringing my husband, because
Yeah.
I want to, I know you shouldn't bring someone you love in that situation where they could
Right.
die,
But at the same time.
yeah, I'm going to be selfish.
Yeah.
I want them to go through this with me. But then I think like, damn, is there someone I know who hunts a ton, who's very fast, who would be able to get in the mind of the worm, who can read really well so that they can figure out riddles? Like, I was trying to think like that, and I was like, no, I think I'm still choosing Jordan.
My husband's taller than me, so like maybe that would even help with leverage in a mud that you're like just, I'm using bones as best I can, but like let's help each other out. It's like the mud run. That's all I can think of. Yeah, no thanks.
I'm bringing Garrett. When it comes down to it, we work really well together and we understand each other. We've been married 15 years, so, well-oiled machine. Are we going to fight the entire time and be annoying to everyone? Yes, but we're going to get it done.
I agree. I don't think that's a bad like answer though. Like, yeah, I'm sure we have like a best friend too that we could like call out and support and stuff too, but at the same time, like I think our men would not would not give up either.
Yeah, would you hear me tell Jordan that's such a stupid idea? Yeah, from time to time that might come out of my mouth, or this way is better. Yeah, I know for a fact. For sure, but
Oh, yeah.
it would be fun to do that together and more than likely die together.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, if you go down, we go
Yeah.
down together.
You go down. Put your mind in a box, okay? You are compartmentalizing. That's kind of a hard word sometimes. Who are you killing? Between Amarantha, the Ator, maybe even the Keen of Hybern, maybe even Rhysand. You're looking at it by just this first book. You know no future knowledge. So Adriana, I know you're going to have to go way back to think like, what were my feelings the first time I read this? But who are you killing with just the knowledge of their personalities and what they're doing? And obviously pretending Amarantha doesn't die at the end of the book, but you only can use info from this first book. Who do you kill out of that?
Can I ask, like, is it a certain time frame in this book that you're asking me this? Because if I think I have a shot at killing or winning this battle, then I'm killing the King of Hybern because I know the war that's still to come. But if it's me still not thinking I'm going to make it out of these trials, I'm going for Amarantha first because I think that Atter is just her,
Plaything.
little pet, whatever, yeah. And so like he's gonna run the first minute he gets without his lady. But that's just my opinion. It depends probably where I'm at in this book
Yeah.
first time around, because like obviously the little details that she's getting even through those conversations, she's realizing that yes, that war that Tamlin had kind of mentioned with the humans and stuff and has warnings of like you need to leave kind of are still to come, and it's not necessarily just Amarantha. She's just the beginning force of it. So knowing how bad the previous war was and still what's to come, I'd be more afraid of the king, but I would destroy Amarantha without a second glance. So like if I think I can win this, then I'm going for the king. Otherwise, Amarantha, you're mine.
I'm taking you with me as I go out.
I don't think I paid enough attention the first read to realize the King of Hybern was my real enemy. So I'm going to have to say I would have gone for Amarantha because Tamlin's only complained about the blight upon the place. I know that's a big issue. I know that he's cursed and has to wear this mask. Like, I want him free of this woman who's trapped him and all the other courts. That's my main focus was the villain is Amarantha.
It's crazy you say that, because at the beginning of doing this strip down, Amarantha was your favorite character.
Oh my god.
Wait, it's like Tamlin. Her opinions change.
Yeah. Amarantha actually
Yeah.
isn't that bad. I kind of feel like Feyre, if she were to answer this question, would, like, obviously, if she killed Amarantha, that would end her situation, so maybe she would choose her. But if you look back, like, on her nightmares and all the weight that she carries through the rest of the books, I feel like it is the Ator that haunts her the most. So I almost feel like she would
Yeah.
choose. Like, if you take away all the implications of, like, yeah, the Keen of Hybern, if you get him out, then you don't have the rest of the series, basically, then sure. For me, I think I'm doing the same answer as Adriana. I, in spite, would want to kill Amarantha, but if I'm thinking endgame and long term, then it makes the most sense to kill the Keen.
It makes the most sense for sure. I just was in the frame of my first read in this first book. I'm totally not thinking that far ahead.
Oh no.
Well, because you don't have as much knowledge yet. Like you said, like you are just kind of like, okay, so like the king has plans still, but I think the paintings really do show that the Ator or Adder, whatever you say, is really haunting, because she has nightmare after nightmare, like Emily said. He's a nightmarish creature from what she's describing him as too.
Right now, who's the first person to pop in your mind to do Feywild Happy Hour with?
We all three need some Feywild. Who else needs to be there? I don't know, but it would be a damn good time.
The three of us, this group, would be so much fun to do Feywild with.
Oh yeah.
I would want to bring Garrett too, just because I think that would be hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Maybe some body paint involved.
Oh, yes. Yes. See, that would be fun. I feel like it should be like a pre-game with us girls, and then like the men come in and we're like, all right, see y'all later. A girls' night to then lead into, yeah, I guess our husbands can pick us up.
Yeah.
We can't drive. We should have Feywild and then try and paint like Feyre.
That's what I think would be fun.
Gosh.
Yes.
When people try and do the portraits of each other.
Yes.
Yes.
That would be hilarious.
Then
that would be great.
We need to do that sometime, where we get I guess we can't get Feywild, so we just get real wine and we try to paint. I would definitely choose probably you guys, and then have book club or something like that. Or going out with the guys would be fun, but I feel like for Feywild, you would just want to hang with your friends for a little bit.
You need a party first.
Yeah.
But I love the painting idea, because Feyre thinks she's a masterpiece here, and I just want to know, is that what I think until I start painting, and then everyone's like, oh, it's so good, and then you see it the next day and you're like, that is horrendous. Yeah, that wasn't me.
Not good. Favorite lines? Adriana, you never thought about watery bowels until people started bringing it up on social media?
Even still, when we're doing our reread now and I'm just like catching chapters as we go, like for some reason, and I agree with Jenna, because like if an author does reuse something, it usually drives me nuts, and I pick up on it. But this time I still don't even pay attention to it. Yes. I don't know why. I'm just too busy just like fun reading at this point.
Yeah. No, I guess there isn't like a really great, I mean, you could say throw up or vomited or something like that. I think it's just the way that the way that it sounds, watery bowels. It's not great. I don't love it.
In any description. Any of description that you've mentioned.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it is my favorite line. I just wanted to bring it up because it's funny to think of it as a favorite line, and more than just us catch it. Like, I noticed it the first time that I read it, but it's really social media that goes, I feel like, hard in the paint for it. Do you guys have a favorite line?
I like the eddies of the cauldron, or when she mentions it always. Like that the eddies of the cauldron are up to no good.
I liked how poetic Feyre living out the poem was. I don't know if that's not technically a line, but I definitely didn't see it in that light the first read. So rereading it this time, maybe my favorite part of the reread was just seeing how Feyre actually lived that out. She got to see all the faces of love, because there are many, many faces.
I also will agree with Jenna. I love the way that the riddle is played out about love, because Feyre is understanding it because she has experienced love for the first time, but she had never really felt that way, so she didn't even know how to recognize it. And Like we said last
Yeah.
episode, that was very poetic, and so I enjoyed that.
No, I think that's a good one that you both bring up because it's very important to the story. I mean, hell, she didn't even think she deserved love once she finally realized that it could be possible for her.
I think a community favorite line, though, is one that Adriana already pointed out earlier in the episode, is when Resend comes in. He's like, I've been looking for you.
I still reading that chapter still like I just get little goosebumps every single time. I'm like I just want people to start connecting the threads. I'm like, guys, I don't
Yeah.
care if this was not meant to be. This is the thing. That calling, you can't tell me that that's Tamlin wanting her to go see her. No, 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 no. Hello, Farah, darling. I've been looking for you.
It gets just sweeter with time because you realize that is the thread, and that
Yeah.
scene sticks with me solely because I remember her saying the most handsome man she's ever seen, and I'm like, but you're with Tamlin. What do you mean the most handsome man you've ever
Yup.
seen?
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, Tamlin. You just do better.
And this isn't from this book, but when you realize that she painted the night sky on her drawer when she did that for
Yeah.
her sisters, that, oh my God, that part, I'm just like, oh.
I think that's why so many people are curious about Elaine because she always has flowers and her biggest thing is gardening, right? So, like, how does that tie into possibly the spring court versus we know Lucian? He is in the spring court with Tamlin, but we also know his lineage. So we know that, like, technically he should at some point be a part of summer court, not autumn. That whole theory that you brought up is now going to just like eat at me because I haven't seen that on social media, but now I want to go and dive deep into it.
Speaking of theories, let's jump into it because this is
Yes.
probably going to take the last like 20 minutes of this episode.
Okay, so for a universe SJM spoiler ahead of time, while I was reading in chapter 41 of this first book of ACOTAR, I noticed that when Farah is overhearing the conversation between the Ator and the whoever they're speaking to, the Ator describes his lady, which is Amarantha, as having pincers. The exact line is, and you had better hold your tongue, the Ator warned, or my lady will do so for you, and her pincers are not kind. And it talks about even before that my lady makes no bargains that are not advantageous to her. She lets them claw at hope, but once it is shattered, they are her beautiful broken minions. And it's just spider-like. Like, it's catching you in that web. And I don't know if that was purposely done or if, Sarah's just, she loves to portray the villain in that spider-like, kind of snake-like way. But I just thought that was so good. And I couldn't believe that was the first time I caught it. I was like, wow, we're really describing her just like we did kind of Maeve at the end.
Well, that also like goes into, are these worlds parallel in like there's a line but they're like at the same time just on opposite ends, like these worlds are happening at the
String
same time.
theory.
Yeah. Or is it what came first? Is it Throne of Glass and then eventually like this she's a descendant of the spider ladies, or vice versa? So it's very I'm interested to see if we ever get that, because we know in Crescent City she jumps almost parallel. Like ACOTAR is happening at the same time as Crescent City. It doesn't feel like it's going back in time.
You know how we get a little bit more about Amryn later in these books, and she talks about how her father let a bunch of them leave. And then we know that that's kind of what happened in Throne of Glass, is all these new beings showed up through this portal or whatever. And why couldn't it be that Amryn showed up at the same time here, but she had to take on another body, so she's not reacting the same way as like Maeve and Amarantha and all of them, like with the ebony eyes and stuff and the flag or whatever.
I always thought that Amaran was kind of similar to the bad guys in Crescent City. The whoever the basically people pulling the strings are. So I thought like maybe they were definitely from the same world, but I don't know if I've ever mentally made that comparison to Throne of Glass. That's an interesting point.
I think they call it string theory. And I don't know that I could technically explain it for our audience in the best physics, and I don't think I have the capacity to do that. But I think it's more of like the timelines are not overlapping each other, but they are within like points of each other. And so like even if you're not technically in a parallel world, that's how you can fall from one into the next and then go back.
She kind of explains it, and we're going to read it when we talk about how Nesta can pull the strings of the instrument to put herself in different
It's Loki.
times.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, she explains it, and it's even with a string. So it's,
Yeah.
you know, very literal string theory at the same time as being representative.
Yeah.
Well, and I have heard rumors of
So excited for it.
Of a fourth series that she could bring, and what if
Mhm.
that is like who is actually pulling the strings? So that would be interesting. Or just keep with these and give us more. Give us more. Just always give us more, no matter what it is.
Because I kind of wonder if like since there was a very, very long time ago, like a little hint on her, I think Pinterest board or something along those lines of like that fourth series, I think it had to do with the gods. And that's why she was saying like you could potentially see people that were mentioned in previous books or previous series, but could they be the ones controlling everything and they're just sitting watching it all unfold?
The gods are such a weird concept in all three of these series.
Mhm.
They all seem different and they all seem connected. And so, I don't know.
Or the worlds are completely
Excuse me.
separate and we're making it up.
I remember as I read them for the first time, and maybe when I started to like actually realize, because it's kind of obvious when you start to like connect similarities, right? Or something like just feels like she's mentioned that in the other world, or it's too similar to something already mentioned in the other world. The first time I started noticing that, it was so hard for me to see the question of is it past or present, because we talk about like the language being the old language, and I think it's the ACOTAR world, versus like obviously once you get to Crescent City it's very modern, right? But even Throne of Glass they talk about the old language. And so like that to me is it's timeline wise too. So like I'm curious how she's going to actually play it out in these next books for us, because I do think we still have more crossovers to come.
I think it's interesting that Feyre's name is of the old language, and the old language is brought up many times in all of the series. And I also think that there's no way anyone can convince me that the Hind and Aelin, the Fire Hearts, they both have that same power. They're not somehow related.
Oh, they are, because she talks about her ancestors. That's why she named.
And the rings.
Yeah.
They both have the ruby rings or whatever too.
I almost wonder if Crescent City is a timeline of Throne of Glass in some more linear capacity, versus like ACOTAR is just a world jump. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I really wish that we didn't just get Bryce falling, but at the same time, when Rhys slowed down Aelin, I still wish we find out where she landed, and if it could have still been part of a bigger thing that's to come.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wait, repeat that whole thing that you just said.
I can't. I literally cannot. You could pay me millions of dollars and I still wouldn't be able to get that out.
So Adriana said she is so interested to see if when Rhys slowed down Aelin, where she landed, and if that's going to be told to us in books to come.
Yeah, like what kind of impact
like
that's
that,
going
right?
to make. Because it almost seemed like she still kept falling. She just slowed down. So she's still seeing the worlds, but now she's seeing them slowly as she's just bam, bam, bam. You know what I mean? So I've tapped
I
out.
hope she took the time to punch. What's her name? Elena. I hope she punched her in the face. That
The
girl
Eye of
makes me so
Elena.
mad.
You didn't like her?
Yeah,
How
I don't.
funny.
I
In
just
Throne of Glass?
Ugh.
Wow.
Yeah.
She's
Now
like
that's
one
an
of the
interesting
worst
one.
characters in the entire series combined, like all of them. Are you talking about the
I
ghost
like
girl
when Diana.
that is like, hey,
Yeah.
I couldn't fulfill my own obligations, so you are literally like Harry Potter, the
We
pig
left
that
it
has
for
come to
y'all.
I
Yeah. What an asshole.
I hate her. I despise her.
Her and Brennan. I'm like, really? You
Oh
could have come
my
up with a better
God.
plan.
You put everything on my shoulders and you're not going to help me and you're going to say it's like all on me. And if I don't do it, it fails forever. But you were selfish when you could have done it. Oh, I don't like her. And I hoped Aelin punched her right in her little face. Her stupid, ghostly face as she lives forever in the void.
All right, now going back to fan theories for this series only. Basically, I only have two that for me that I actually believe in this moment after finishing the first book. And the first one is the ACOTAR is from the Spring Court. I firmly believe that now. I don't know if it means anything, but I believe in it. And then the second thing would be Farrah's mom. I think there's more to her story, and I sure do hope we get it, because I think that will kind of link some things together with why these three sisters are so important.
I agree. Those are the best theories to come out of the first book for me as well. Okay, I want to know why there is a pool of starlight in the Spring Court. I don't understand that. Was it just meant to show Feyre that there's something else out there? Or what is it doing there? Is it going to come into play when Elaine takes over Spring Court? Because I guess that would be my major theory for ACOTAR, the whole series.
I think it was a gift.
Elaine.
I think it was a gift from when Rhys and Tamlin were best friends still, and the families were closer before we know what happened. That's what I think. I think it was a gift.
What if it's like another shortcut? You know, you have Under the Mountain as a shortcut. What if that's like a shortcut to get to Rhys?
It could. Whoa.
Oh.
What if it's a short?
I like the enthusiasm there.
He's excited about that theory.
I still think that Elaine is going to be either the High Lady of the Spring Court alone or with someone. Whether it's Tamlin or whoever.
So that hasn't changed for you. Now, is there a question that I haven't asked that you guys would like to add on?
Does Tamlin still have a heart of stone, or is it now a beating heart again?
I feel like if it was a part of Amarantha's curse and everybody gets their power back once she's dead, would that not mean that his heart is beating again?
Yeah, very easily.
I think that's also why he can feel so much, and now he's in super depression.
I love people calling it his depression era. I love that.
It is. Yeah. I mean, he loses Feyre. He kind of is losing his court, to be honest. It's just dismantling, and I think he's feeling all that he bottled up and couldn't feel at the same time. And now it's like, are those therapy sessions we told you about?
You should have looked
into that.
Him losing his court is a really great lesson on don't tax the people. Don't tax the people.
Yeah. It's true.
Or don't raise the taxes. Or how about this? Here's a novel idea. Tell people exactly how much they should pay in taxes so it's not a guessing game. Tamlin should try that out.
Oh my gosh.
I'm only talking about ACOTAR. In no way am I referring to the real world of America. No comparison there. Okay, guys. Well, that's all the questions I had for the final thoughts. I just wanted it to be a quick, fun episode, and I feel like that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, I'm excited for book 2.
Yeah.
I'm excited to keep this train going because rereads are going to be so much fun with you guys.
Oh, yes. And book 2. Book 2 is one of my favorites of the entire 3 series. Now let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode. Next episode, we have an interview with our very first bookstore owner. She also happens to be the newest bookstore owner in Tulsa. So join us as we sit down with Melody from Meadow Market Books. And tune in every Tuesday on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts for a new episode of Book Thoughts, and be sure to hit that follow button on all of our socials.